What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The Brew with Matt and Mike is back, and the Badgers bounced back today, 90-73. Looked exceptional, and what I really liked from Wisconsin today was their defense is what set the tone. Yes, Carrington went nuclear, and Wisconsin was hitting a lot of shots in the second half, but it was their physicality on the boards, is their physicality on defense. That's what really catapulted them to win this game. It seemed like they learned their lessons from the Oregon game, where there were some similar situations, and Wisconsin just took care of business in a much different way than they did against Oregon. But yeah, Mike, how are you doing? What do you think of the performance today?
Well, it's good to talk to you again. I think this is the most we've talked to each other in a while. We've had what 2 hours apart. It's beautiful. I'm happy to be back. No, it was a great game. Kind of what I expected. I thought that this team kind of laid an egg the other night, and all of a sudden, they came back into a team that is pretty depleted with injuries, as well as they got some youth on their side, and they just handled business from the jump, right? Like defensively, they looked different. It just looked like a different team with the energy that they were playing with. Looked like a team that was a little bit more rested, and looked like it was something that they were ready to go as soon as the ball tipped off. There was no sleepy start. They were engaged.
Yeah.
They were active. They just had a different look about them, right? So for me, it was awesome to see them bounce back like that. And then, yeah, obviously, guys going a little bit nuclear offensively, namely a guy from Minnesota named Braden Carrington. My goodness.
Crazy. It's actually absurd. Just looking at what he's done throughout his career and what he's doing this season for Wisconsin. And what did he do last year at Tulsa? 33% from three, played 27 minutes a game and averaged 7.4. I mean, he's going to be averaging more points per game at Wisconsin and shooting better at Wisconsin in the higher competition. In his first years, averaged 5.9 points per game, 4.6. And here he is cooking. Been a stud these last few months, but my gosh, unbelievable. The shots he hit. He was the game changer when the game wasn't just busted completely open. He was the guy that just kept Wisconsin in firm control of the game. I thought there was a very parallel moment where Wisconsin, it was there was kind of a rough stretch against Oregon where Wisconsin was up like 21-12, and against Washington when Wisconsin was up 22-12, there was a bad stretch, and I was like, okay, this is deja vu once again. You had Carrington was kind of out of control on a drive, chucked it up. That's probably a turnover. It went over the hoop. And then Blackwell had a rough drive, or he got blocked on his shot, and then he had a rough drive, turned the ball over. They gave up 2 points, and then Blackwell turned the ball over once again, but Winter cleaned it up with a nice chase down block. But that was a rough stretch. But the big difference was Carrington was like, no, we're not blowing another lead. Carrington was really the guy who kept a firm lead for the Badgers today. So, yeah, and you know what I also will point out is there was no Hayden Jones. And I'm not anti-Hayden Jones. I just think right now I want 5 or less minutes from him and more minutes from Carrington. That's what I want, and that's what we got to see tonight. The more Carrington, and that's the one silver lining I said when Janicki got hurt, is you're going to see more of Carrington, and Carrington is looking like an absolute stud right now.
Yeah, he's being elite, but the types of shots he's getting, he's really on balance with a lot of his jumpers. They look, he takes tougher shots and he's taking, deeper shots because this is just like a body of work over years. So one thing that happens with shooters is, especially when you become a range shooter, you get this body of work that you just have to be able to shoot from range. And it's not only just putting shots up, it's putting time in the weight room. That's one thing is all his shots, he's on such good balance all the time that I don't necessarily love the ones when he's off balance. But, I mean, if you dare him to shoot, he had a couple today where it was just walk-up threes, no pass. I was a little bit shocked. I was like, oh, man, that's tough. But, he knocked enough of them down. He does that eventually. He kind of needs to do that for this team. He's such an elite spark plug off the bench. And I really like the combination of Carrington and Rapp coming off the bench. They went to that early today, and all of a sudden it was Winter, Rapp, Carrington, JB, John Blackwell, and Boyd, and that's a lineup that they've closed with a lot. And Guard did a great job of substituting that team in early, right around that 22-12 mark. That's when he went to that kind of closing lineup. And I think he understood, like, hey, we need to close this game out here. We have a chance to knock them out. Let's do that. Let's go to this rotation. And I really liked it. I liked the guard idea of his rotations today. I thought he did a great job. Talking about Hayden Jones, he's understanding Hayden can get in at times if they really, really need him, more foul trouble than anything else. And that was the other thing. Both the guards stayed out of foul trouble today. John Blackwell didn't get in foul trouble. He's a little loose with the ball. I mean, my question for you is how do you feel about John Blackwell right now? I look at him, I don't think he's healthy. I think he's having some problems with an ankle or something. I feel like he's not moving quite the same and doesn't have the same burst that he did early in the year.
That's what I'm hoping. And not that I want him to be hurt, but I'm hoping that's the reason, because he's having a really tough time. One, a little bit loose with the ball, but two, he's having a tough time creating space for himself and getting all the way towards the hoop. So, yeah, I agree. The burst isn't there. I feel like I've been saying this a few times. I feel like he looks a little funny when he's been running up and down the court. But I will say, I thought he was biting down on the mouthpiece a little bit and getting after it on defense, which I did appreciate. Despite some of the rough offensive stretches, I saw him getting after it more on defense than I've seen in recent memory. And then I want to give Rhodey a shout out, because didn't really do much offensively, but defensively, I thought he was a tone setter defensively. He was really getting after it in that first half. So I appreciated that from Rhodey. And then, obviously, Nick Boyd. Nick Boyd was a tone setter in this game. He was all over the place and just gritty. I loved he really wanted to go after Steinbach quite a bit. Anytime he saw Steinbach, he's like, I'm going at you. I want to show the scouts at the next level that I can score against an NBA level length and athlete. And so he was attacking the switches like a madman. He was playing really well out of the pick and roll. And Carrington, like, we're talking about all the shooting from Carrington. He had some beautiful dimes in the pick and roll. Like, holy cow. He had back-to-back in the first half. He had back-to-back dimes. Well, one was finished by Winter, and Winter had a really agile, clean finish. And then the next possession, beautiful feed to the Winter, and then we were scared if Winter hurt his ankle once again. So, yeah, Winter might be a little limited. But, yeah, that was one where all the Badger fans were holding their breath. But, yeah, let's get to a few comments here.
Oh, I did just like this as soon as I saw Winter's ankle turn over. I said, "Oh no, that's not great."
Yes,
yeah, we can get to that.
Yeah, so Brett Rail, we both kind of think that Blackwell might be a little banged up right now. I mean, that's both our hypothesis. Carrington elite, I agree. Broke Davison's school record. I did not know that.
What was the record?
Wow.
Was it 8? 8 was the record.
It had to be 8 then. Yeah, it had to be 8. I think it was against Nebraska. I think it was against Nebraska his first senior year.
His first senior year.
the inconsistency from Blackwell, we both think it's injury. And also, even if he was healthy, when you don't have that next level athleticism and burst, it's hard to consistently show up and have his best nights. Like, he can do it in spurts, but when you don't have that next level elite athleticism, it makes it a lot harder. So that's kind of my answer. But I think he's a bit banged up on top of that.
He's a strong, like, right-hand driver. He loves to get to contact. He's not necessarily going to blow by you in the manner that Boyd does. But even when he's hitting guys, like, earlier in the year, he was getting guys with that shoulder bump, that hip bump. And then he was getting into that little – it's called a transition fade, where you kind of go across the lane off a dribble and get into a fadeaway. And he was doing that at a really high level, and he hasn't really gone back to that shot very much. And I'm not sure if it's because he can't push off his right ankle. That would be my idea. Is I think he has a harder time maybe with his right ankle just from the footwork standpoint. But, yeah, it's also nobody's healthy at this point in the year. That's also kind of chalk it up to that. Sure.
Then – yes, the Vest is lucky. Against Iowa, they played out of their minds, and now they just played out of their minds against Washington. And then I didn't wear it for the last game against Oregon, and we saw what happened there. So I might have to start repping this Vest more often.
Did you wash it? Did you wash it yet?
I have not washed it yet, no.
Then don't do it. You're no longer allowed to wash the vest. I don't know. Like, hey, there maybe a squeaky cheese curd gets on it with a little marinara sauce. I don't know what happens in Wisconsin. Things get crazy at places like that, You never know.
Yes, sir. That do we care if Braden Carrington starts or comes off the bench? personally, if he plays starter minutes, I don't care if he starts. Yeah, he's a part of that closing lineup, but I don't think guard should be putzing with the starting lineup at all. Keep Rhodey in there and like Carrington do what he's been doing off the bench.
Yeah, he needs to stay on the bench for me. He's definitely him and Rapp both need to stay off the starting lineup, because what happens is like you can find the flow of the game and the way this team is set up. You want to flow through Boyd and you want to flow through Blackwell first. Those are your guys that you're going to really look for offense for. You're going to give them most of their shots. And then if you bring in Carrington and Rapp, like that's our top, that's our top offensive output outside of Winter, right? We've got 5 guys that really put numbers for us. And if you bring those 2 guys off the bench, it just changes the rhythm of the game. It changes the pace of the game. It gives the defense a different look that they have to stretch out a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, Boyd and Blackwell become that much more effective. So I like him in the spot he is. It's really important the way he comes in the game and how they manage these games. It really changes the flow. So he should not enter the starting lineup at all.
Can you explain to me how he's made the turnaround that he's made to go from, hey, we should burn Kinziger's red shirt because we need Kinziger this year, from that to now just playing out of his mind, dropping 32 on the road and just becoming an absolute sniper. I mean, here's a guy 2 years ago at Minnesota averaging 2.7 attempts from 3 per game, shot 22.1% in 29 games. So it wasn't a small little reference point. This is an entire season, 2.7 attempts per game, 22% from 3. Bro, how do you explain this? This is incredible.
Work. Right. There is that's it. That's that's the biggest thing is like he just put in an insane. From what I understand, I've got people from Minnesota. He's former Mr. Basketball up there. I've got friends in that area. They told me he's an absolute worker, and that's somebody who just puts in the time. And like I said, it's putting time not only on the court, putting up lots of shots, but it's weight room work. That's really the biggest thing for him. I think he's really grown into his body, and also that's this NBA influence. He's trying to go and make an NBA roster. He kind of knows, like, hey, I'm not on that upper echelon of athlete. He's a good athlete. You put him in a room with average Joes, he's going to be one of the best ones. But you put him in a room with the elites, he's mid-level at best. But for him to get to the league and get an opportunity is hey, playing defense and
that's
shooting
crazy.
Threes. That's the path he has to go and make as much money as he can in the NBA, G League, as well as if he goes to Europe. I think he can play in different leagues and different levels because just the size is a little bit different because he's really only about 6'5". But that's the biggest thing for him. I think he sees the path of, hey, this is where I probably am going to make the most money if I do this specific skill at a very high level. And people pay through the nose for elite shooters like that. He will make a lot of money playing professionally. If he wants to go and do that.
What's crazy is he's going to get a look. Like with how he's been playing in 2026, like there's a good chance that he's going to be on a summer league team. And that's crazy.
Absolutely.
That's crazy. If you would have told me that late December, I would have told you are insane. There's zero chance he's going to be playing in this summer league. And just unbelievable turnaround. This is something else. And I mean, you can say, yes, guards got an eye for talent in the portal, but how about just getting these portal pieces to fit and play well? You know how many guys in the transfer portal move up a level in competition and warm the bench? Like they get a nice little check and they're like, hey, I played well at this mid-major. Time to level up a little bit. And then they don't do anything. And he was at Tulsa last year. Like Washington has a guy from Sheboygan. I forgot what his last name is. It's a complicated name. He's let me find this.
What region of he's from Sheboygan? Okay.
Sheboygan. Jacob Onasevich. Jacob Onasevich, right?
Love it.
He worked hard over the years. I'll give him credit. So he is a 6-year senior, I believe. And so his freshman year at Valpo, and then the next 3 at Lipscomb. And in his last year at Lipscomb, so last season was a catalyst for Lipscomb making the NCAA tournament and averaged 20 points per game, 57% from the field, 40% from 3. And then he goes up to Washington, all right? and he has played in 12 games. I imagine he's been banged up, but 3.1 points per game, 1.2 rebounds. Like, that happens all the time. Look at Owen Freeman went from Iowa to Creighton, and he's not doing anything there. And then you go, there's Kendall Blue. I was following St. Thomas because I had a buddy who played for St. Thomas last year, and he spent 3 years at St. Thomas, probably averaged 12, 13 points per game on a really good St. Thomas team last year. Got, I think, $400,000 to go to Nebraska. You got your money, but he's averaging like 0.6 points per game and doesn't get into a lot of games. So Guard finds a guy like Carrington who truthfully didn't have much demand in the portal, and he's cooking at Wisconsin. John Tonje was committed to New Mexico State, a mid-major, and then Guard came in and poached him. like what Guard is doing with these transfers and making them play their best basketball, it's like the Brewer effect. All these people are putting on the Brewer uniform and playing out of their mind. That's what's going on in Wisconsin. Crazy. From Storr to Tonje to Boyd, and throw Carrington in there. Guard has been cooking with the guys he's been bringing in the portal. Like, it's actually incredible. Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, he's definitely figured out how to recruit out of the portal, right? Because that's also the thing is it's really challenging to find guys that are going to fit your culture and fit your style. And, you know, I think they've done a good job of identifying the talent on the edges. And because I'm not sure what the recruiting budget and the NIL budget at Wisconsin, I feel like it should be more. Just my personal opinion. There's a lot of money in Madison. There's a lot of people who came through Madison. There's, the Epic is there, one of the biggest medical software companies in the entire world. So, I think there's enough there for them to get some more from NIL so we can continue to recruit at a high level. But yeah, Guard, and that's kind of one of the things about Wisconsin and the history of Wisconsin. They've won on the edges. We've won on the edges a lot during recruiting, right? There's guys that, we had high major offers, but it maybe wasn't, they weren't getting the same guys that were committed to Duke, committed to, North Carolina. Those guys that had those high major offers, we weren't getting some of those guys. But we always won on the edges, and we always won with guys we knew what we wanted to do, right? And that's like one of the better things about becoming an older human being is you kind of understand who you are. And Greg Gard and, before that, Coach Ryan, they really understood what they wanted to do with their program, how to win games the way they wanted to win games. And that's ultimately what it is. And Carrington alluded to that before. He's talked about it a few times. He's like, he was tired of losing at Minnesota. He was tired of losing at Tulsa. He came to Wisconsin because he just wanted to win. And it's funny, I have the same exact sentiment. I said this when I was getting recruited. It was just like, I just want to win games. Winning is way more fun than, averaging 20 on a crappy team. So I love what they've been doing. It's been great to see. And yeah, somebody said, Rhodey has his limits. I agree with you. Rhodey has his limits, but he's been a wonderful glue guy for them. He's done a lot of dirty work that just isn't very much fun to do. And I feel like he's done a great job of that. I think he's taken some pressure off of guys, defensively being that main wing defender, main on-ball defender against better players. So Boyd and Blackwell can really carry the load offensively. I think he's done a great job with that.
100%. And where's this comment? Yeah, and Mitch answered this right below. Why did Belauskas play so few minutes? It's because in the first half he picked up 2 fouls, and we know the Badger rules. If you pick up 2 fouls in the first half, you are going to be sitting. What do you make of that, Mike? Are you a fan of that rule?
Kind of. It just depends on who you are, right? Because this is the thing that happens with this Badger team is if there is a chance where John Blackwell, I feel like teams, if they see him with that second foul, they're going to pick on him to try and get him the third foul because they understand his importance, especially in closing games. We might be a little bit disappointed in his ability to get by guys, but he's still an offensive, juggernaut in his own right. He still requires attention. You can't just be like, whatever, we're going to put all the shade, everything to him because he's carried us through a lot of games. He's that secondary punch and a different style of punch that we definitely need. So for me, I like it with John Blackwell. I think he's also he hasn't shown the affinity to really play through that super well. He hasn't had the opportunity to, and I think it's situationally. But I think he's super important in that aspect, and I like how Guard protects him in that manner because it's like, well, we have other couple of options that we can go through to try and stem the tide until we get to that second half.
Yeah, I just think sometimes historically, more so, guard's been a little bit more flexible with it, but sometimes took it too far, in my opinion. Where it's like, no matter what, if you have that second foul, you are on the bench. I always thought that was just a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's just a trust factor with your players too. It's the biggest thing is, do you trust your guys? And I think he has trust with John Blackwell, but I also know like he understands the importance of him in those second half moments. And John has really played well, and I feel like John has really put together some really good second halves after getting into foul trouble because he's dealt with it a lot this year.
Yeah, yeah, and then just looking at the box score, seeing if there's anything else that stands out. No, I mean, I think we covered it pretty well. What did Mitch say? Yeah, I went to Garlock, so like a few more post speeds in a game. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree, and I would like to hit Blackwell in the midi a little bit more and touch Blackwell in the post. But like Mike said, we both think that he's got to be a little banged up right now. So hopefully he can get a little bit of rest here. And looking ahead, I believe Wisconsin has Maryland next and then Purdue.
Correct.
And that's a big opportunity this upcoming week, and Purdue's is showing some chinks in the armor. So I wouldn't be stunned if Wisconsin pulls that off. Mackey has not been an unwinnable place like it has been in the past. So that one I'm interested in. But yeah, Mike, you got any good Purdue stories?
Purdue stories. I'm trying to think. I mean, one of the things I remember about Purdue is actually when I went on I believe I went on my unofficial visit, or maybe I think it was my official visit when I was a senior in high school. I got to watch the baby Boilers when they had Etwan Moore. Yeah. They had Robbie Hummel. He was a freshman. They had Juwan Johnson. They were they had a super good squad as a bunch of babies as freshmen, and they came into Wisconsin and knocked them off. And I just remember being at the Kohl Center during that time and just remembering like, dang, I didn't think Purdue was really like this. And then all of a sudden I saw them up close and I was like, oh man, they really got it. But no, Mackey was always really tough to play in. It's one of the more difficult arenas to play in. Just because the fans are on top of you. It's such an old school arena. They got about a 6 to 8 foot wall behind each basket, and their student sections is on top of you, especially in the second half. They also have a set their rims are a little bit goofy. One's soft and one's not so soft. So yeah, there's some variations there. But that place is going to be super super loud. It's going to be a great game. I think the matchup we had with them earlier in the year. It was what it was, but now they're definitely a different team. Wisconsin's a different team than they were, and Purdue is as well. Purdue's kind of been chugging along and doing the same things, but Wisconsin definitely has turned up a notch and is not going to be the same team that they saw a few months back.
100%. And then last thing, Mike, for those who don't know, Mike is still playing professionally, and him alongside Ryan Evans are the two oldest Badgers still hooping. And Ryan did log in 4 games this year, but it's been a minute since he's played, according to Eurobasket. Okay. So Mike might be the oldest Badger still rolling, which is awesome. But Mike, you had a little bit of an injury. Yeah, you're still chugging along. You had a little bit of an injury. Do you want to update the people on what's going on with you?
Oh yeah, we're good. We started preseason down here, and for those of you that don't know or are not aware, preseason sucks. It's terrible. Nobody ever likes it. Your body feels terrible. You're just trying to ramp things up. And it's just a lot of work. It's one of the things I always forget when I get back into seasons, how tired my body gets. But we were practicing, we were getting into our 5-on-5 stuff and made a layup and got into a pick and roll. For whatever reason, my dumbass decided to roll to go to the rim. I don't know. I'm too old to be running to the rim. I don't know why I'm doing that.
In practice, yeah.
Yeah, just shoot pull-ups and shoot threes. I should stop messing around. But it's so I got knocked over. I got into a fight. Not into a fight. I got into the fight in the air with one of my giant human teammates. His name is Tyler Davis. He's a very, very big man. Very, very big man. And definitely would have fit in at Wisconsin. And he just kind of knocked me out of the air. It wasn't on purpose. It was just like a good contest. And fell directly on my hip, my knee. very lucky I didn't turn anything. I thought I was a little scared there for a second. I told Matt, I was like, I think I saw my retirement plan coming into place a couple of years early. But no, I'm good now. I just, I got a couple of days off. I'm gonna try and, stay the course here with physical therapy. I'm gonna go take a swim tomorrow. Take care of my body as best I can and try and return back to the court. And man, just looking forward to a season. I'm super blessed to continue to be playing. I've had some tough injuries in my career, but still enjoying it. We talked a little bit earlier about, I still get butterflies before games. I still have a little bit of nervous energy, even though I've played in hundreds of them, darn near thousands at this point. So it's still fun for me, still enjoying it. My knees are still holding up somehow. And I think I'm going to try and, continue to be the old man in the room for a couple more years. I think I got it in me. I take pretty decent care of myself, don't eat a lot of nonsense, and spend some time with my yoga, my mentality, my Zen lifestyle here on the beach. So, but appreciate it, Mitch. Appreciate it. I have been one tough Badger. I'm being less tough now. I'm not gonna lie to you. My toughness is. I'm still a tough guy, but it's definitely tamed down since the days I was very, very young and very willing to put my body on the line for everything. Now I'm more just like I put it on the line for an extent.
I strategic.
Yeah, I want to win, but I'm definitely not taking charges anymore. I'm good on that.
Oh man, yeah, no, and I told Mike that if he goes to, God willing, he stays healthy and everything, and he has some good situations. I said, if you can make it to 40, that'd be legendary. Playing till 35 is actually quite legendary because one, you got to stay healthy, you got to have some luck, but you also got to take care of your body really well, and then you also got to keep the love of the game. Working out all those years, all those games, all the travel, that can get a little bit exhausting. So
taxing for sure. Taxing. Yeah. The want to run and the want to continue to stay in elite level shape is it's by far the hardest thing now. Just the wanting to be in that condition. Cause the biggest thing is once you get out of shape, it's hard to get back in shape. And then that's where all your injuries happen. If you're out of shape, that's the fastest way to get hurt. So, that's kind of what happens to guys at the end of their career. They're just like, man, I don't want to run anymore. I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
So, but no, we have a good situation down here. Matt, we're trying to get you down here. Actually, I think you and the lady should come down and hang out for a game.
Oh, say less. Say less.
I don't know what you guys are doing. It's beautiful down here. I speak some Spanish. I know some spots for whatever we want to do: fish, steak, fresh fruits, tropical vibes.
Bro, let's do it.
I got you. I'm one hell of a tour guide. I'm just gonna let you know. Anybody who's came down here, they've enjoyed this. I get a 5-star review every time.
Bro, yeah, I'm looking for places for my bachelor party. So,
hey, come on down, guy. I got you. It'll be a great time. I'm a big believer in planning bachelor parties that are a little bit more non-traditional. Golfing, drinking, and going out at night. Now we're gonna go find something way more fun, way more bonding, way more connecting. You'll like it, I promise.
Well, let's go. I noted. That sounds like a blast. And then I think last comment before we wrap this on up is Brett Rail said, "I believe UW secured a double bye for the Big Ten tournament." Is this fake news? That's my question.
No, it's correct. It's correct.
That's correct.
Yeah, the announcers were talking about it a lot, and I checked it out. So, yeah, they're just trying to work their way up the line to get to the third, that 3-day bye.
Oh, okay. Yes. So there's another level. Okay, so
because we added teams. Yeah,
because last year, and I can confirm all 18 teams will be. Yes. I think 18 will be at the Big Ten tournament this year in Chicago. Last year in Indy, there was a few that didn't make it. They didn't have.
Yeah, I think they didn't. Yeah, they didn't let in the bottom 4. I think, or maybe it was the bottom 2. I can't remember. I think it might have been bottom 2.
Yeah. So yeah, this year it's going to be different. I was there in Indy last year. I was there.
Great place.
We went for a little boys trip down to Indy, and holy cow, it was fun. That Michigan State game, nutty. Oh, it is a great city. It actually. Indy's got more problems than you would think. It kind of surprised me, but Indy's got some more problems than you'd realize. Just you look at the statistics.
Oh yeah, I mean it's more just a great city to have. It's a great city to have an event like that.
You're totally right because the whole city focuses on the event. If you go to a bigger city, then it's like, that'll be one of, like in Chicago, there's going to be a ton of different events going on, but
Too much
Indy
stuff
goes
going
all
on.
out for the event that's there. So
Yeah, that's for me. I always enjoyed the Big Ten tournament in Indy more than the Chicago tournament. It was cool in Chicago, but man, the whole vibe is for the tournament there. That's the best feeling. They changed
Totally.
the names of the streets. Everybody's walking around. Everybody's got their own bars. It's a vibe down there. I think they should have it there continuously.
I agree every year. But yeah, no, well, that's very wonderful news to hear. Hopefully, somehow, some way, if they beat Purdue, yeah, hopefully they can. I don't think that's probably going to happen, but I will gladly take a double bye. But it doesn't look like they can get a triple bye unless some crazy stuff happens. But you never know. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into the Brew with Matt and Mike and hanging out. Show some love. We are on Facebook, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts yet, Mike, or are we still battling?
No, they didn't like my application, so now I have to. We got to wait a week and then go back. It's working. It's working. It'll show up. I promise. We're getting there.
Yes, sir. Yeah, but yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and we will see you again soon. Have a great rest of your weekend, and yeah, we'll break down the Maryland game for you in a few days.